All 5 Bruce Lee movies ranked, worst to best. Number 5. Game of Death. Bruce Lee died before his last film, Game of Death, could be completed, and it was 5 years before it finally saw a theatrical release. In Game of Death, Bruce Lee, dressed in his iconic yellow jumpsuit, has to fight his way up a tower, facing different martial artists on each level. As he progresses, the fights become gradually more difficult. At one point in the movie, Lee clashes with a character played by basketball star Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The fights are well done and live up to the expectations of a Bruce Lee movie, but there's just one big problem: Bruce Lee died before Game of Death could be completed. A large number of his scenes were never actually shot, and no amount of editing could have solved this issue, though it's clear the studio tried. Stand-ins were used, one shot at his face laughably superimposed over a double's face, and scenes from past Bruce Lee movies had to be included. They even used footage from Bruce Lee's actual funeral. When watching Game of Death, it's easy to see why the studio initially chose not to finish it. It was made from only part of a movie, and it shows. With these things in mind, it's hard to call Game of Death a good film, but Bruce Lee fans still regard it as required viewing for its fight scenes alone. Number 4. The Big Boss. Released in 1971, The Big Boss is the film that launched Bruce Lee to stardom. In The Big Boss, Lee is Chang Jiawen, a martial artist who goes to live with his cousins in Thailand and work at an ice factory. Before long, Jiawen starts helping his family look for 2 of his missing cousins and ends up earning the attention of a local gang. For Jiawen, his biggest problem isn't defeating the gang, but the promise that he made to his mother that he would never fight. Though initially looked down as a coward, Jiawen is pushed and pushed by the characters in the film until he predictably breaks his oath and lashes out against his enemies. It's here where the movie really takes off, and the slow build-up to Jiawen's climactic decision makes the fights that follow even more exciting. However, though Bruce Lee's first movie was certainly a success, it's not quite as compelling as his later films. Number 3. Fist of Fury. A movie built on the theme of Chinese nationalism, sees Bruce Lee take on the role of Chen Zhen, a man who returns home to find out that his kung fu master has died. While still reeling from his death, Chen is thrust into an ongoing dispute between his own school and a Japanese dojo. After the Japanese insult and demean his friends, he takes action against them and more battles between the 2 rival schools follow. The conflict heats up when Chen Zhen realizes that his master was murdered. Fist of Fury has been the subject of various sequels over the years, with actors like Jackie Chan and Donnie Yen playing Lee's character. However, none of these films have been able to rival the original, which is an entertaining tale of revenge, packed with action. The saga of the kung fu hero who sets out to avenge his master is a story that's been done hundreds of times in martial arts movies, but Fist of Fury is among the most memorable examples. Number 2. Enter the Dragon, which was released shortly after Lee's death, was the actor's only Hollywood martial arts production. Unlike his past movies, Enter the Dragon centers on 3 protagonists: Lee, Bruce Lee, Roper, John Saxon, and Williams, Jim Kelly, all complete with their own individual backstories. After meeting, the 3 compete in a martial arts tournament, with Lee's character secretly investigating the movie's main antagonist, Han Shenkain. Enter the Dragon is renowned as a classic for its martial arts choreography and impressive visual style, which are present through film. In the movie's closing battle between Lee and Han, Lee remains in control, but it maintains an exciting feel through the emotion that Lee packs into every punch and every facial expression. Number 1. Way of the Dragon. The first and only movie directed by Bruce Lee himself, Way of the Dragon follows the story of Tang Lung Lee, a man who travels to Rome to help his relatives deal with a vicious gang. Chin Chinghua Nora meowed for few camera cuts, and made it all the more gripping and realistic. It's also superior to Enter the Dragon and filmmaking, provided him with an opportunity to create a true martial arts masterpiece.